Hello everyone and welcome to another Oracle Cloud Planning Key Update video. Today I'll be talking about cell level security and how it can be used to create different security assignments in different cubes within one application. So a common occurrence in security design is when a client might have differing security needs between cubes in an application. And unfortunately, dimension level security doesn't allow for different security assignments between different cubes. So your security assignments on dimensions and dimension members apply to all of your cubes that use those dimensions, such as account, cost center, and entity. This can cause an issue when, for example, a client has a workforce planning cube with sensitive employee data, which then pushes at a consolidated level to a planning or reporting cube. A user might be allowed to see aggregated cost center data in the planning cube, but the client requests that the user should only be allowed to plan employee level data for a more limited number of cost centers. And unfortunately, we can't say that a security group can have one type of access on cost center, for example, in one cube and a different access for a different cube in the same application. It's one set of security assignments. So in the past, we might have suggested perhaps having solutions like multiple logins for users with different security assignments, such as one for financial planning that gives you access to total cost centers. Then the user would log out and log in with a different username for workforce planning that provides more limited cost center access, but access to your workforce planning application. But this can be cumbersome and hard to maintain. But another solution that we've identified is using cell level security as part of your security design. Used properly, this can add a level of security control across cubes with the same user. So let's take a look. So in order to use this as a solution, you will need a unique dimension in the cube that needs to be more restricted. So usually a workforce planning cube will have a employee or position dimension that is unique to that cube. Perhaps you have a set of workforce planning accounts that are unique to the workforce planning cube. Both of these could potentially be used to use cell level security to make a unique security assignment in the workforce planning cube. So here we're going to use our employee dimension, which is only in our workforce planning capital planning cube, which I'll refer to just as workforce planning from now on. And so that's going to be important to using cell level security. This is the perfect candidate to anchor our cell level security on. So what is cell level security? Cell level security is basically a exception to regular security. So service administrators applying cell level security can use it to deny access to cells or intersections that a user would normally have access to due to their regular security. You create rules similar to valid intersections, if you've worked with those before, to define cell intersections to deny access to. So we're going to set up some cell level security. First, I want to just demonstrate my initial security setup for this application for this demo. In this demonstration, we have a user who has access to all entities and cost centers. Our test user is going to start off. This is a user that has right access to all descendants of all entities and all cost centers and to the net income roll up. And I've set that up already and added our test user there. So this is someone who in the Fin cube, the planning cube, is allowed to plan for all entities and cost centers. Again, this might not be a real world example, but hopefully you can use this to fine tune for your application. But say that this user, then we're told, needs to just be able to plan workforce level data for the sales area only. We're going to use cell level security to set them up both to have access to all entities and cost centers in the Fin cube, but then when it comes to the workforce planning cube, they will no longer have access to all entities and cost centers. We're going to limit them to just the sales entities and cost centers in workforce planning. So I have two groups I'm going to use here right now are our test user is added to our demo planners write all group. And again, this has been given write access to descendants of entities and all cost centers. And then you're going to actually have to create a second group for the workforce planning only access that you're going to want them to have, but this group is not going to be applied to the dimensions themselves. This group is going to just be used in our cell level security definition. So let's go ahead and set up our cell level security rule. We'll go into the navigator, the cell level security, and we will need to, again, start to set up a cell level security definition rule. So we'll come into this screen, we'll click create, and we will get the setup screen. We'll give our cell level security rule a name. I'm going to call this Sales Planners Workforce Planning Write Access. We have some options here. So here you can differentiate cell level security rules between cubes. So I really only want this to apply to our workforce planning cube. So I'm going to uncheck the other cubes that we have in the system, the fin cube being the other cube that we've got given more general security for this group for. I'm going to select the anchor dimension. So again, the driving dimension, which I'm going to say is our cost center dimension, the dimension I'm going to use to primarily drive access as part of this rule. And I'm going to add a rule here. So I'm going to add another dimension. I'm going to use the employee dimension to hinge this access on. But first it's asking me to select a group that this will apply to. So as I said, that group that we're going to use to deny access for our general access user is the Demo Planners Workforce Planning Sales Write group I created. And again, this is not going to get applied to any dimensions itself. It's just going to be used as part of this cell level rule, which will say whoever's in this group gets denied certain level of access that they would have access to otherwise. And we have options here for the restriction that we're giving. You can deny read, which would be read and write, or just deny write if you still, for some reason, wanted to give people access to read data, but we do want to deny read access to other employees and other cost centers as part of this cell level security rule. And then I do need to add that employee dimension to be part of this. So we want to deny access when we have certain cost centers paired with the employee dimension. That's how we get that denial of access as part of the workforce planning cube and not in the fin cube. And so then I'm going to make my selections for each one of these dimensions. So you have a member selector. I want to deny access to all of our employee level detail. So I'm going to say descendants inclusive of our total employees. But again, this is only going to be for the other cost centers that this group should not have access to. I'm going to do sort of a double negative denial of access here. So I'm actually going to say deny access to total cost centers, but we do want to only give them access to sales and marketing. But you'll see how I do that in a second. So first I'm saying deny access to descendants inclusive of total cost centers, but then I'm going to add an exclusion to that. So again, sort of a double negative. I am going to deny them access to total cost centers except for the sales and marketing cost centers, which they will be allowed to plan employee level data for. So I'm going to do I descendants on sales and marketing. Okay, so really this is it for setting up my cell level security rule here. And in a second, I will show you this cool test feature they have. But first, we'll just demonstrate this in action. So I'm going to hit save. Okay, cancel out of this. And I have added the my test user to that group. So if we go back to our access control, you will see I have a test user, set up it with the user role, and they have been added to the write all group that I have that gives them access to all entities and cost centers, again, that we want them to have in the FinCube. But now I have also added them to this special workforce planning sales right group. And so by virtue of this access, hopefully they will have access to all entities and cost centers in the FinCube. But if they try to access anything other than sales cost centers over in the workforce planning cube, they will not be able to. So let's log out and log in as my test user and see what that looks like. So here I am signed in as my test user. I have a couple demo forms set up here. So I have 2 demo forms, one for each cube. So here I have a net income review form in the FinCube. Again, this is where they should be able to see all cost centers and entities. And then I have a FinCube. And then I have a workforce planning cube demo form, which would show you employee level detail for all cost centers and entities as well. So let's look at the access we have over in the FinCube, just a high level review form. Here you can see if I pull this form at total cost centers, I can see data. If I pull any individual cost center, this user can see data if data exists. So if I pull any other cost center, they should be able to see the data at that cost center. Again, this is rolling up all employee level detail. So there is no employee level detail in this cube. But this other form, our workforce planning summary, will show you employee level detail by cost center and entity. And you'll see as soon as I pull this up with the selection I had in net income, we immediately see that there is no access for cost center C400, which is under finance and accounting. And that's exactly what we have done with our cell level security rule. So this user over in workforce planning should only be able to see sales and marketing cost center. So if I choose the sales cost center, you'll see they do see employee level salary data just for this cost center. And again, it does look a little different than, say, typical denial of access through typical security. Usually they would just get a blank form or saying that they don't have access to members. Here they do see the intersection, but they just get told at the cell level that they have no access to that data. So as you can see, cell level security can give us the power to give differing levels of access for an individual user or users across different cubes in a way that wasn't possible with regular dimensional security access that we typically use in a PBC application. So here I've signed back out and back in as my service administrator, and I wanted to show you the test functionality here under cell level security, which can allow the service administrator to go ahead and test their cell level security rule as well. So you'll see here, there's a test button up here, test cell level security. If you click that, you'll be brought into your folder library. My demo forms are here under demo. Here you're able to open up your forms. It won't show you the data, but it will show you the effect of your cell level security on these forms by user. This is the high level net income form in the cube. You'll see up here you actually have a search bar to look for people in your system to see their security. So I'll click on the search tool. My security user is this one. I'll move me back over to the left since I'm not looking for my access, and you can only select one user for this purpose. I'm going to hit OK. And you'll see that this user can read these intersections. So this is the information you're getting when you test cell level security here, not the data itself, but the access that individual will get to this intersection. So again, over on the net income side in the FinCube, they can read any level of cost center all the way up to total cost centers. But I want to actually go test that workforce planning level forms. So again, you can go back to this test cell level security tab, open up a different form. Again, this is going to default to me, the service admin, so I can read it, but you need to go in and select the security user that I am using. Move this one back. And ideally, it's going to tell me none. There you go. Here saying this user does not have access to this finance and accounting cost center in the workforce planning cube. But again, they should have access to sales and marketing. So if I pick my sales and marketing cost center, hopefully it will tell me this user can read sales and marketing. So you can test the effects of your cell level security using your forms without necessarily having to log in and out as a security user, though I always like to do that to make sure that my users are getting the experience I expect them to get. So there you have it, an intro to cell level security, a great use for it in terms of being able to differentiate cell level security amongst cubes in one application. That's it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more Oracle Cloud Planning EPM update videos. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.